Okay, today I'm ready to finish up this cover box that I made 2 days ago, and now is the time to cut it open and then finish up trimming so they will fit tight. So the tool I'm going to use is my number 8. Okay, this is my number 8 trimming tool. So I will cut a group here, and then after that I will use a very pointy knife to cut it open. And this is my number 10 cutting tool. It's very thin tip, so it's easy to go through. And after that I will use my regular number 2 trimming tool. So this is 90 degrees, so you will be able to cut a very detail on that. For the regular looping tool, it's hard to cut the very nice gallery there. So I'm using my number 2 to cut a gallery. Alright, so first I will center. So get a clay coil to secure. Right, so I'm using a needle tool to draw the line that the other day I make a poke hole here. So I'm going to cut from here. Right, so use a needle to draw a line, and then I'm going to use my number 8 to just cut below the line. So this is my number 8. So instead of using a wooden stick to push the a little indentation there, is that because I have the texture on the surface. So if you do that when the clay is still wet, you're gonna mess up the texture. So that's why I'm doing it when it's dead hard stage. So just cut a groove there. Right, and then use the very sharp tool, hold it very steady, and just cut it right there underneath. So I'm putting my thumb there to hold the tip of the knife, so the knife stays on the same spot all the time. So it's very steady. So now I'm separated. Okay. And you can see that there's a little gap when I'm attaching the slab. So you want to fix that too by maybe put a little bit of a slip there, and put a coil to fill in that little gap. This is very important that if you don't do a good job on there, later on it might separate from the little gap. So make sure you do that. Right, so I will do later. This time I'm going to trim to finish up the bottom portion first. Like I told you that you don't have a very nice 90 degrees trimming tool to finish up this part here. Okay, so this part is finished. The gallery is finished, and I can bring it in to show you. Still, it's not fitting. Okay, so later on I'm going to turn this upside down and then trim. So using that to guide it, see how much clay I can remove from there. So. But first I want to finish trimming the foot. So after done, I'm going to use that to measure the lid portion. So you can see when I'm trimming, I always like to stabilize my cutting portion. So I always extend my thumb here so that the cutting portion here is holding using my left thumb to do that. So by the very final stage, I usually increase the speed of the wheel. This sounds about right, so that the surface will be smooth. Increase the speed of the wheel and move the tool slowly so that it will be smooth. Okay, so that's the base. Finished trimming. So later on, I'm going to use that to measure the lid portion. Right, so that's the lid part. I will add a coil later on, so just leave it alone. I want to trim this part nicely. For trimming the lid, you see that I have a little dome here, so this is not going to be in place. It's hard to hold it that way. So all we want to do is maybe put it on a chuck. Okay, if you can find a chuck. So the dome portion is fitting on the chuck. Sometimes if you don't want to ruin your texture, maybe you can raise it up a little bit. So first let me center the chuck a little bit so it's kind of in the center. I'm going to just slightly raise it up so that the chuck is not ruining the texture. So there's a clay in between. And you see that my clay is sticking on the chuck. Usually the chuck, maybe from your studio, they wanted the chuck to be stronger, so they all bisque. They bisque fire the chuck. So, but when you bisque fire the chuck is kind of porous. So if your chuck is very porous, and you try to use the clay to stick it on, it's gonna be very hard for you, the clay to stick. Okay, so to prevent that, the clay from falling off your chalk, I usually suggest people, let's soak your chalk in a bucket of water for maybe 10-15 minutes until it's not absorbing water anymore. So later on, when you are using the clay to hold it, the clay is easy to stick on your chalk. Okay, so that might be a tip for you. Try to put it in the center. But since I put the clay in between, so this might not be in a very good level. So if you can find a bubble level, okay, there's a little bubble there. So you put it on, and then you can adjust. So you find your very good center. And also, since that part is not flat, so I'm going to put a disc on top of it. All right, so this is very good. Just a tiny little bit that is off. Okay, so the bubble is in the center, so meaning that this part is very level. Okay, and now before I trim it, I want the clay to be able to hold the part without moving around. So I'm putting the clay coil to hold it again. And see how good that the clay is staying on top of a chalk, because I soaked the chalk in the water. Bring back my bottom portion here and see how much I could cut it. All right. So we will cut a little by little. So after I cut down a bit, and then I will bring it back and then measure it. But first I need to recenter too. Okay, at the center I want to hold the chalk so the chalk doesn't move. Right, so So I could cut down a little bit more. Okay, so that's about it. Fitting very well. So put in the clay underneath to hold it so that, see that the top without ruin the texture. So bring back my body and the lid. So that's the piece. Very tight fit because I'm using the bottom to hold it and to guide it. So it's very tight fit without moving at all. And taking my time to trim the gallery so it's fitting nicely. And later on I will put the coil, roller coil, and then try to attach the corner there to reinforce it. And that's it. Okay, thanks for watching.